Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Monday Morning Mentor. My name is Aaron Gutekunst here with Elevate, and today we're going to be talking about our second part of how to send emails that engage, bring value, and convert. So, last week we discussed the standard type of starting emails that you should be leveraging, and this week we're going to be moving up into more advanced types of emails. Some of these will require a little more time to set up at the beginning, but the ROI on these kinds of emails is also higher than the ones that we discussed last week, and you'll see why. So I strongly recommend taking a look at integrating these types of emails into your marketing strategy as well. If you're a more advanced marketer at this point and you're more comfortable with this right out the gate, awesome. If you're not, don't worry. There are people like me who are more than happy to help you get these types of things set up and rolling. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing I'm going to talk about are nurture campaigns. And before I get too far into this, let me go ahead and share my screen because we're going to be diving into a little bit of what nurture campaigns are and how they're very useful. So let's take a look. All right, so what is a nurture campaign? Well, basically, a nurture campaign is a drip campaign or a series of emails that go out to a target audience that you have selected for a specific type of messaging, basically to kind of move them down the sales funnel. That's mostly what they're used for. Just ongoing education can be a part of it as well. Sales is the predominant part of it, re-engagement as well. A lot of different reasons. They're very versatile. They're almost like the Swiss Army knife of email campaigns. And so here are a couple of things that will be important whenever you're putting together a nurture campaign, some things to remember. So first off, you want to make sure that the messaging is going to be specific to certain key audiences and that you're only sending these drip campaigns to those specific audiences. You don't necessarily want them to be super generic like you would a newsletter. Now, you can always start out with a nurture campaign that maybe begins very generic, but what you want to do very quickly is have actions and different items set up inside of those initial emails that help to filter your viewers or your readers into maybe more specific messaging and more specific drip campaigns. Um, each touch or drip, each email that goes out in your campaign should have its own singular focus and its own calls to action. So you don't want to put, this huge amount of information inside of just one email that's just part of this ongoing drip campaign, because that's going to be a lot. You want to give more bite-sized pieces of information and include calls to action that encourage them to click out and view other things, other pages, more information about what you just discussed. So you can include things like tips, buyer seller tips, which is actually the example that I have pulled up over here. This is an example of a buyer seller drip campaign. And you can see that the first email right here is set to go out immediately to new buyers and sellers. This is one that is set up so that whenever somebody comes in, maybe they've been on my website looking through different listings, or they just came in through um, one of my lead capture forms, they can start receiving this drip campaign right away. And so it goes out, right away, a day later, a couple days after that, and keeps going and going and going until after, what is it, about 9 touches and 30 days later, they have gone through this drip campaign. And the whole purpose of this is to eventually kind of move them down the sales funnel, nurturing them, helping to keep them engaged and helping to provide them with more valuable information. Now, a key part of this is that you don't want to overwhelm your leads with a flood of emails or a flood of touches. Uh, you want to be sure to space these things out, um, and just consider setting up actions that may actually remove them from the campaign and put them on something else. So, if you're setting up a campaign and or multiple campaigns, and there's a chance that one specific lead could end up on maybe 3 different campaigns at the same time. That's a lot of content. So if different campaigns could feed into each other, for example, like if you have just like a generic buyer seller campaign, and then maybe based off of email number 2, you can determine based on what they've clicked on, okay, this is a buyer versus a seller lead. And then if they click on something that says, I'm interested in housing, in this area, for example, then maybe it cuts them off on that generic campaign and instead, pops them over to a buyer specific campaign just right away behind the scenes. No one sees anything and it's all automated. And then they start on that buyer campaign. So just kind of having those intelligent pieces built into a campaign that is just ongoing. And something else that's really cool to incorporate into campaigns like this is a text component. So if you're sending out emails, that's great. But also, if it's something that maybe they've clicked on a hot action item and you want to send them a text message notification, having those built in as well can really add a lot to your drip campaign and really keeping them engaged. The next thing that I'm going to talk about are announcements and invitations, and these kind of fall into like the new listing announcement, the recently sold in your neighborhood announcement, price adjustments, open house invitations, things like that. Again, this is something where you want it to be kind of singularly focused. So, just as an example, here is a just listed email. I believe this has two different listings in it. So, we have a beautiful image, we have the description, we have a little bit of details on it, and then we have an invitation to view more. And then a little bit further down, kind of the same thing, just with another listing. So keeping it fairly clean, fairly basic, and something that's um, very easily tweaked. So if you want to go in and just drop in content very easily, you can do so. So this is something that, with a lot of systems, especially with ones like Elevate, you can have automated. So there's not a whole lot of hands-on that you're having to do with these types of emails. But at the same standpoint, they still look fantastic, right? Just sold, having a just sold announcement. Um, Basically saying like, this house in your neighborhood just sold for X amount. Here's a free market value evaluation you can sign up for and find out how much you can get for your home. So again, something clean, something simple, a singular focus. Then open house invitations. Those are always great, right? Always, be sure to include an RSVP button because you want to know who is actually going to be showing up ahead of time. That's always helpful. I've also seen, kind of tying this back to what we just talked about, I worked with a gentleman not too long ago who had short, about a week long, smaller drip campaigns that he actually set up along with his open house invitation. So folks would click to RSVP onto the to go to the open house, and then he had it set up that immediately after the open house, these other emails would start going out with additional information about the listing. It was really cool, and it actually worked out really well for him. So that's one idea that you can kind of take away from this too. So, again, including calls to action, links that the readers can click on, such as the RSVP link, or to get more information or to contact you about the listing or the event. Um, you want to include, again, a good balance of text and images. So you'll see that there's one image right here and then about a paragraph description of text underneath. Um, this is not something where you necessarily want to copy and paste the entire description, and you definitely want to kind of tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit more conversational, because the way that you talk to somebody in an email and the way you talk to somebody in a description for a listing are going to be a little different, right? And so you want to match your tone to that. um, and so common temptation is going to be, again, with emails like this, is just load up the email with all of these beautiful photos that you have for your listing. It's very tempting because you put good money into those photos, right? You want to be able to showcase them. What I would recommend though is don't do that. Don't load up an email with just listing photos, because this will handicap your ability to get into inboxes. Some inboxes can't handle that many photos in an email. Spam filters, especially, don't really like emails that have just like tons of photos, not a lot of text. And so it's important that you, again, kind of keep that good text and email balance. The next one I'm going to be talking about here I have under the category of updates and ancillary. So this is going to be things like your property search alerts, testimonials, referral requests. Actually, I think I've covered referral requests last week, so we can leave that one be. But things like property search alerts, I'll pull one up over here. Okay, so this email has is called a property search alert, And basically, someone who came into the website, had a certain search criteria. Was like, okay, I want houses that fit this certain price range or in this area, and I want to be notified whenever something new comes in that fits that criteria. And so an email like this is one that you can have automated again from your CRM, like the one you can do with Elevate, and then those emails just go out automatically for you to your clients or to your leads who are interested in other houses that kind of fit that criteria. And what's cool is that with a lot of these tools, you can also adjust that criteria just depending on conversations that you've had with them. So that's kind of an important thing to look for too. Um, Property alerts can be a great conversion tool because a lot of times they'll just kind of do the work for you, right? Like you may get a text message one day and just, the client's just like, hey, I saw this amazing house that just popped up on the property search alert. Can we go take a look at it? Just be sure that your CRM provides these so that they can be automated for you. Another one to kind of look for is a morning report. This is something that again you can have set up so that your clients, as they are creating searches, as they're looking for more homes, that every morning they can just kind of get a notification that says, "Hey, here are the new matches in your area that kind of fit the search that you're looking for." So again, kind of piggybacking off of what we were talking about with those immediate property search alerts. Um, Sending out testimonials. I think I covered this a little bit when we talked about newsletters, but we all know testimonials can be a very, very powerful tool, and they can stand alone by themselves, of course, but they also work really well when you combine them with other content pieces. So things like the just sold, if you include a testimonial inside of that email, or the newsletter, or kind of some of the other kind of more robust pieces that we were talking about, or they work great just as some filler if you are kind of blanking on what you want to add. If you're trying to like round out an email, like maybe like a newsletter for example, and you just can't think of, geez, what can I put in this last section, what would fit really well here. um, Having a good backlog of testimonials that are just ready to go that you can pop into an email, um, let alone just sending them out on social media whenever you get a chance. But just having that in your back pocket is going to be super helpful, and always work out really well. And the last one we're going to be going over are routine emails and automated content. So a lot of what we talked about already, with certain platforms like Elevate and Emerge, you can automate, and it takes a little bit of setup at the beginning, as all great things do. But then once you have them in place, they just kind of run by themselves. And this is going to be things like like on the automated side, you can have things set up like market reports. This could also be something that you would fall could also fall on the more like routine emails that are more hands-on, where you may decide you want to develop your own market reports, or you may have a third-party service that develops those for you and provides them to you, and you just pop them in an email real quick. Community news, as real estate professionals, you are, we know that you are involved in the community. Um, as all good real estate professionals are. And so you kind of have your fingers on the pulse of what's going on, new events that are coming up, maybe events that you're involved with. And so you can use emails that are more specifically geared towards showcasing those. Maybe something where like it's a charity fundraiser, or something you're volunteering at, or a 5K fun run. Different things like that, whether you are volunteering or sponsoring, or just want to let people know so that you can be kind of there as the community guide, if you will. And then, of course, folks are always interested to know what's going on in their local market. Again, kind of tying this back to things like the just sold email. If you were wanting to kind of combine like a just sold and a market report in the same area, you could have an email like this. Where it just gives some basic information about average asking prices, average days on the market, how long or how many homes are for sale in that area, and then include right underneath it maybe a listing, open house invitation, or a just sold and a testimonial. They, again, just like the newsletters, you don't necessarily have to make them very long. You just have to pack them with valuable content. Okay, so those are all the emails that I had for you guys today, and we can kind of continue the conversation if you would like, or you can call into our team and kind of continue the conversation with them about the different types of emails and different styles of emails different strategies you can implement to kind of really round out your marketing. We also have a lot of resources on our website. So if you go to tryelevate.com, you can check us out there. If you go over to, there's a tab, I think it says support, and then there are options for checking out our blog. We have a whole bunch of free guides that are available that cover things like email, lead gen, marketing listings, all that great stuff. I strongly recommend you check it out because it's a really awesome resource, and I think you guys will get a lot out of it. But next week, we are going to be going over a slightly different, still in the same vein, but a slightly different topic. And these are going to just be some like additional real estate marketing ideas that, again, will kind of take away the like here's some, oh yeah, you should send out emails, because again, everybody can tell you to send out emails. We all know sending out emails is great, but these are going to be some more specific, like targeted strategies and tactics that you can do to kind of just go from, hey, I sent an email, to, hey, I sent an email that had a 40 to 1 return on investment for my dollars that I spent on sending it out. So, um, you know, don't want to give away too much in terms of teasers right now, but these are going to be some great tips that I think you guys will really like. Maybe some you hadn't thought of before. And I can almost guarantee you some that you probably haven't seen online before. So I can't wait to see you next week and go over those. But until then, my name is Aaron Gutekunst, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.